Welcome back to the English for Life podcast. I'm your host, Joy.
And I'm Will, your co-host for today's linguistic adventure. So glad to be here, Joy.
Oh, absolutely, Will. Sometimes I don't know about you, but I feel like I need a secret decoder ring just to understand what's going on online these days. Like, I'll be in a group chat, right? And someone will drop a phrase, and I'm just sitting there scratching my head like, wait, what does that even mean? Or like a TikTok comment section, it often just looks like it's written in code, honestly. It's like, did my vocabulary just get stuck in like 2010 or something? Because everyone else, well, they seem to be speaking a totally new language out there. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, it really is. And, it makes you wonder, like, how do people even keep up? I mean, I certainly feel that way sometimes.
Exactly. And that, my friends, is why we are here today. On this episode, we are diving deep into the fascinating, sometimes bewildering world of Gen Z slang. We're going to try to be your linguistic lifeline, if you will.
That's right. We're going to decode some of these terms that are just, dominating modern communication, especially among younger generations. We'll explore why they are so different, where they come from, and hopefully give you some tools to, navigate this evolving linguistic landscape.
Yeah, so buckle up, because we're about to explore how an entire generation communicates and what that says about language itself. It's going to be a good one, for sure.
So, Joy, we often talk about how language evolves, right? But with Gen Z, it just feels like it's on hyperdrive. Like, what makes their slang so, different from past generations?
Oh, absolutely, Will. It's really fascinating, actually. See, in the past, slang, it kind of spread, through physical communities. Like, think about the 1960s hippie culture or, 90s hip-hop scenes. Slang would slowly circulate within those groups, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. Like word of mouth or, maybe through music or something like that.
Exactly, but now with Gen Z, it's totally different. Their slang just, it spreads globally through digital platforms in a matter of like hours sometimes. It's truly unprecedented how quickly things move.
Hours? Wow. I mean, I guess that's where the hyperdrive comes in, huh? So it's not just about like new words appearing, but how they travel.
Precisely. And it's not just that they're consuming content either. This generation, they actually remix, recontextualize, and redistribute language at just unprecedented speeds. Think about it. A phrase can start in, say, a 15-second TikTok video, and then boom, it gets picked up by Twitter, maybe it's transformed on Instagram, and it reaches mainstream usage before linguists can even, document it. It's wild.
That is wild. So, the platforms themselves really shape the language then? Like, how does, say, Twitter's character limit affect things versus TikTok's algorithms?
That's a great question. Each platform, it really does shape language differently. Twitter's character limit, for example, it creates these hyper-condensed expressions. You gotta fit a lot into a little bit of space.
Right, like short and punchy.
Exactly. And TikTok's algorithm, on the other hand, it rewards catchiness and memorability. Things that just stick in your head. Instagram, of course, prioritizes visual context. So this multi-platform evolution, it creates slang that's incredibly layered and super contextual. It's not just a word, it's got a whole environment around it, oftentimes.
That's so interesting. And, I've heard that Gen Z is like the most diverse generation in history. Does that play a role in their slang too?
Oh, absolutely, Will. That's a huge piece of it. Because Gen Z is indeed the most diverse generation, their slang very much reflects this. You'll find terms that, often blend influences from African American vernacular English, or Latinx culture, various internet communities, gaming, and even global pop culture.
So, it's like a melting pot of linguistic influences?
Pretty much. And it's important to understand it's not cultural appropriation happening in isolation. Instead, it's a complex, interconnected linguistic ecosystem. It's really neat to see, actually. So we've talked about how quickly slang spreads and how diverse its origins are. Now, I think it's time we dive into some of the terms themselves, like the foundational ones that everyone should probably know.
Oh, absolutely, Joy. I'm ready. I hear some of these floating around, and sometimes I'm just like, what does that actually mean? So, where do we even begin?
Well, let's start with probably the most versatile terms in the Gen Z vocabulary, I think: no cap and just cap. Have you, heard those before, Will? You look a bit confused, so I'll explain. So, no cap means, no lie or for real, I'm serious, but then cap by itself actually means lie or false. And the interesting thing is, the term actually comes from the phrase capping, which has roots in African American communities, meaning to boast or to lie. So if someone says, that's cap, they're basically calling out something as untrue, like, that's not real, man.
Oh, so it's like stop capping or you're capping. That makes sense. It's pretty direct then.
Exactly. It's pretty direct. Okay, next up, and this one's been everywhere, particularly online: Rizz.
Rizz. I feel like I hear this one a lot, especially on TikTok actually. What exactly is Rizz?
So, Rizz is actually short for charisma, and it describes someone's ability to charm or attract others, usually in romantic contexts, if that makes sense.
Ah, okay. So it's like a shortened version of charisma then? That's pretty efficient, I guess.
Yeah, it's very efficient actually. And what's fascinating is how this term really demonstrates Gen Z's love for abbreviation and, efficiency. Instead of saying, "Oh, he has charisma," they'll just say, "He has Rizz." And it's even spawned variations like unspoken Rizz for like subtle charm, or W Rizz for like really successful charisma. It's a whole lexicon around that.
Wow. It's like a whole new sub-language just from one word. That's pretty wild. All right, what's our next one?
All right, next up we have slay or slaying. Have you encountered this one?
Oh, definitely. I feel like Slay has actually been around for a little while, but I feel like Gen Z has definitely like re-energized it or something.
They have. So, slay means to excel at something or to look amazing. And it actually originated in ballroom culture and drag communities, which is really cool, and it's now become totally mainstream. So, like, if someone says, she slayed that presentation, or your outfit is slaying, it just shows how the term celebrates excellence and, confidence.
That's actually really neat to know the origin of that one. So it's like a compliment essentially, like you crushed it.
Exactly. It's very much a compliment. And it's it's something you hear a lot. Okay, so we've covered some of the really foundational terms. Now, let's move on to some that are a bit more contextual, maybe nuanced.
Oh, okay. I'm ready. What's first on this like tier 2 list?
All right, first up, bet. Have you heard bet being used in conversation?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I feel like this one's pretty common. Like I'm down to hang out bet. Is that like similar to okay or for sure?
You got it exactly right, Will. Bet basically functions as agreement, or confirmation, or acknowledgement. So it can totally replace okay, sure, sounds good, or even like I understand. Its versatility is actually pretty remarkable because it works in almost any context where you're confirming something. It's super efficient.
Wow, so it's like a quick multi-purpose word. That's actually really helpful to know, especially for text messages, I imagine.
It really is. Okay, next up we have bussin'. Have you heard that one?
Pusin. I feel like I've heard this one, but I'm not entirely sure what it applies to. Is it like a positive thing?
It is. Bussin' describes something exceptionally good, and it's usually mostly used for food. So if someone says this pizza is bussin', it means it's absolutely delicious. It really shows how Gen Z often creates like specific vocabulary for specific experiences, if that makes sense.
Ah, okay, so if I'm like eating a really good taco, I could be like, man, this taco is bussin'.
Exactly. You totally could. All right, moving on. This one is period spelled with a T, and then sometimes and that's on period D.
Period. So like the word period but with a T, is that just like for emphasis?
Pretty much. It's period, but with extra emphasis, you know? It's often used to end statements with a real sense of finality and confidence. And when you add and that's on period, it really, really reinforces that the statement is absolute and totally non-negotiable. There's no arguing it.
So it's like a mic drop at the end of a sentence. I kind of dig that, honestly. It's pretty clear.
It really is. And finally, for this section, this one's really interesting. The construction it's giving, or that's very. Have you come across that one yet?
Oh, I've seen it's giving a lot. I always thought it was like a bit open-ended. What does it actually mean?
Well, it's actually linguistically fascinating, in my opinion. So, it's giving is used to describe the vibe or impression something is giving off. For instance, if someone says, it's giving main character energy, they mean it feels like something out of a movie, very dramatic or important. Or if they say, that's very demure, very mindful, it's about an adjective or a description. It's a way to create descriptive shorthand that's both specific and somehow universally understood within the community. It's pretty clever, actually.
Wow, that's a lot to unpack. So we've talked about what the terms mean, but I'm curious, why does Gen Z slang matter beyond just, being cool or trendy? Is there a deeper linguistic or psychological reason behind it?
That's a fantastic question, Will. And actually, yes, absolutely. From a linguistic perspective, Gen Z slang serves multiple really important psychological functions, for one, it creates an in-group identity. When you use these terms, you're signaling that you're part of a certain community, that you understand the nuances.
Oh, so it's kind of like a secret handshake, but with words?
Exactly. It allows for emotional expression that standard language might not always capture. And it definitely provides generational distinctiveness. When a teenager says something like, hits different, they're not just describing a unique experience. They're also asserting their membership in a community that, understands these really subtle emotional distinctions. It's pretty powerful, actually.
That makes a lot of sense. It's more than just words, it's about, belonging.
Yeah, exactly. And another fascinating aspect is the sheer speed of its evolution. Terms like chuggy, which meant, outdated or trying too hard, they can go from totally unknown to mainstream and then, honestly, to passé in just a matter of months. This rapid cycling, it almost serves as a linguistic defense mechanism. It keeps the language somewhat exclusive to those who, stay current. If you're using a term that's already out, you're not really in the group anymore, are you?
That's wild how fast it changes. It's almost like you need, a daily dictionary update just to keep up.
Right? And what's really impressive is the creativity and innovation involved. Gen Z doesn't just adopt slang, they actively create and modify it. They'll take, for instance, a term like salty, meaning bitter, and create big mad, meaning very angry. Or they might combine mood with whole to get whole mood, which means something is completely relatable. It really shows incredible linguistic creativity and adaptation.
That's actually super clever. It's like they're constantly remixing language. So for non-Gen Z folks like us who want to understand or even try to use some of these terms, do you have any practical tips or warnings?
Oh, absolutely. I have a whole list of do's and don'ts for non-Gen Z. First, the do's. Always try to understand the context before you use a term. Start with terms that are widely accepted and more established. Pay attention to who you're speaking with. Use slang sparingly and naturally. Don't force it into every sentence. And definitely, research current meanings because they can totally shift, as we just discussed.
Okay, so context is key. Got it. What about the don'ts? I feel like there are probably some really easy ways to mess this up.
Oh, there are. Definitely don't force slang into every sentence. Don't use terms incorrectly or completely out of the situational context. Please don't adopt slang immediately after hearing it just once. Give it a beat. And for goodness sake, Don't mix slang from different eras inappropriately, like, you know, trying to use 90s slang with Gen Z terms. And finally, avoid using slang in professional contexts unless you really, truly understand your audience and you're sure it's appropriate.
Right. So, like, no saying this report is bussin' in a board meeting.
Probably not, unless you're absolutely sure your CEO is very fluent in Gen Z speak. The key to authentic usage, Will, really isn't just memorizing a dictionary of terms. It's about understanding the emotional and social contexts where they're actually appropriate. Instead of trying to say that's very cap, no Rizz period IT, all in one sentence, just focus on one term that genuinely fits the situation. And also, it's important to remember that many Gen Z terms, they have roots in communities that have historically had their language appropriated without credit. So being aware of the origins, using terms respectfully, and understanding their cultural significance is really crucial for ethical participation in this linguistic evolution.
Wow, that's really helpful advice. So looking ahead, Joy, which of these Gen Z terms do you think will actually stick around, or will they all just disappear?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Based on linguistic patterns and adoption rates, terms like no cap, bet, and Rizz actually show pretty strong signs of longevity. I mean, they're functionally useful, right? They've been widely adopted across demographics, and they've been stable for over 2 years, which in internet time is practically an eternity. So, yeah, I think those might actually make it.
Huh, so there's hope for some of them to become like part of our everyday vocabulary. What about the future of slang in general? Like with AI and everything, do you think that'll change how language evolves?
Oh, absolutely. As AI, VR, and all these new social platforms continue to emerge, Gen Z slang and language in general will just keep evolving. We're already seeing terms related to AI interactions and virtual experiences popping up. So, yeah, I mean, the next linguistic shift, it could totally be shaped by technologies we haven't even imagined yet. It's pretty exciting, to be honest.
That's fascinating to think about. And why do you think all of this really matters beyond just, being in the know or trying to be cool?
Understanding Gen Z slang, it's not really about trying to be cool. It's actually about effective communication. Whether you're a parent or an educator or an employer or just, someone who wants to understand the cultural conversation around you, this linguistic awareness, it really helps bridge generational gaps. It fosters better understanding between people. It's really about connection.
That's such a great point, Joy. It really is about connection, isn't it? Like, stepping back, what would you say are the main takeaways listeners should remember from today's episode?
Well, I think, first off, language is truly living, breathing, and constantly evolving. And Gen Z slang, it really represents one of the most rapid and creative linguistic developments we've seen in human history. So by understanding it, we're not just learning new words, but we're gaining insight into how an entire generation thinks, feels, and connects with the world around them. It's pretty powerful, actually.
Absolutely. And we'd love to hear from all of you, too. What Gen Z slang term surprised you the most today? Or have you noticed any terms we might have missed in our discussion?
Yeah, please, drop your thoughts in the comments. We love learning about regional variations and new developments in language from all of you. It's really what makes this show so much fun.
For sure. And if this deep dive into modern communication was helpful, please make sure to subscribe to the English for Life podcast with Joy and me, Will, for more content exploring how language shapes our world. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and remember, language is one of humanity's greatest collaborative art forms.
See you next time!